Go, Luke.
Please don't. It's my first time. It's my first time.
It's my first time.
Yeah, it's our first time. You know, we'd all like to come back.
Helen Yee here at the Palms. Always great to be joined by the one and only, the fan favorite and undefeated, Mr. Chael Sonnen. Great to see you here after the BKFC 41 press conference.
Thank you, Helen. Great to see you as well. That was incredible. I mean, the fact that bare knuckle, which was not welcomed, it wasn't even a household name within our industry, 2018, 2019. The fact that they're not holding a press conference in the fight capital of the world, talking about, going to a different state, being Colorado, 17,000 seat venue. Rumor is they've already sold 80% of it. I mean, this is crazy. This is crazy improvements right here.
Yes, and the co-main event, Chad Mendes and Eddie Alvarez, I mean, that one is going to be fireworks, as well as the main event, Mike Pereira and Luke Rockhold. What did you make of them when they all faced off?
This is a massive risk by Luke Rockhold. I mean, that is really how I see it. Luke announces his retirement. Then there's some kind of a rumor that he might go and box Jake Paul. Luke was making a bunch of money at the UFC, which he walked away from. And I am highly curious how that conversation went. Not to mention, for Luke to go in there and take on a smaller guy. Like, that's just a tough thing in our industry. That perception becomes reality. And I just think that Luke is risking a lot. He's very confident. He thinks that size is going to matter. He thinks that he's got a game plan and he can cut him off. I think there's some truth to that. I just think there's also some truth to the fact that that's what MVP thought and that's what the WBO guy thought. Mike Perry apparently is pretty damn good at this sport.
Oh, yeah. He's great. But this weekend in Miami, Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira, their rematch goes down in the octagon. How do you think that one plays out?
This is very interesting, right? Because this is going to be their fourth time meeting. Let's take one of Adesanya's teammates in Volkanovski. I think the only problem that Volkanovski had in getting over the hump on Islam is that he didn't burn his boats. He gets to wake up, regardless of the outcome, he gets to wake up the following day the champion of the world, going into a main event, going into a world title fight, because he kept the 45-pound belt. And I just think in hindsight, he needed to walk away from that and become a 55-pounder. Now, the only reason I bring that up is, how many times are Adesanya and Pereira going to fight? I mean, is Pereira going to say, okay, well, if Izzy beats me, then he's got to give me a rematch because I gave him 3 rematches? It's one of these weird things where somebody, whether it's Dana, whether it's Izzy, somebody needs to step forward and say, this is it. All the chips are in. No matter if you like how this final score goes or not, this is the one that counts. We're never revisiting it. I feel like some type of a closure will add an urgency, and Adesanya needs that if he's going to get over on Pereira.
Who do you favor in it?
I like Izzy. I've seen him fight. I saw him kickbox a couple of times. I thought Izzy was better. I watched him do MMA for 23 minutes. I thought Adesanya was better. Adesanya right now at DraftKings is actually slight, but he is still the favorite regardless of the outcome of the last match.
But speaking of titles, though, your good friend Colby Covington, it looks like he'll be getting the title shot against Leon Edwards. Have you spoken to him lately?
No, I haven't talked to Colby. I knew the news that he was going to be the backup fighter and he was going in there, and I kept that one quiet, right? I don't think very many people knew, but they were able to keep that a secret. I have been disgusted at the resistance towards the idea that Colby would fight for the championship. He is the #1 contender. He's been the #1 contender for 3 years. We're not arguing that because he was the backup fighter, he gets the shot. He had the shot. When Leon came in and got an opportunity against Kamaru Usman, Leon leapfrogged Colby, just to remind you, in the rankings. Colby's the #1 contender. It's always been Colby. Everybody knows that. He couldn't get in because of Kamaru. He had the opportunity. Kamaru's out. Colby goes back. This is obvious.
So when Colby does fight Leon, do you think he gets his hand raised?
Oh, yes, and I would not underestimate Leon Edwards. I think one of the reasons that Leon was able to beat Kamaru is he wanted it so bad. And as much as Kamaru thinks he wants it, man, it's hard. When you've already climbed a mountain and you've climbed it again and again, how many times do you really want to do it again? I think that Leon had as a challenger, he just had a real opportunity there to be hungry, to go out and to prove something. I will just remind you, it's that exact same ingredient that now is on Colby Covington's side.
Now, someone that you and I have discussed in the past, Khamzat Chimaev, it looks like he wants to move up to 185. Do you see him in the future claiming that 185 title?
Well, the title's a whole nother story. We got to know how he's going to do at that weight class. And I think very well, by the way. I think that he's going to pass these tests, but he's got to step in there with somebody. We don't have any real clues. The only 85-pounder that appears to be available right now, is Paulo Costa or Robert Whittaker. But, Dana said he's going to be taking on a top 3 guy, talking about Chimaev. Whittaker is the number 3 guy. Then again, Whittaker as a number 1 contender is probably going to be on ice for the winner of Adesanya versus Pereira. I'm just saying, it seems like there's a real opportunity for somebody to go in and claim that spot. It's a massive opportunity. And one thing that I do find that all the 85-pounders have in common is none of them want to fight each other.
Speaking of good fights and good fighters in the heavyweight division, we saw Jon Jones make his debut. Do you see him claiming, the top of that heavyweight mountain for a while, like staying there?
Real interesting. Dana White had made yes would be the answer to your question. I would say yes and walk out, be done. But Dana White came out, he made an interesting comment, and he said that he, meaning Dana himself, could see Jon Jones beating Stipe, and if he defeats Stipe, calling it a career, saying I'm done because I have nothing left to prove. And that would put Jon in a very interesting spot, because when you get out of the Stipe Miocic, you really step down to lesser known guys. The Sergis and the Sergeys just by example, the Tom Aspinalls just by example. These guys are very talented, but they are much less known, and the perception and the view of the risk would be a lot higher. I don't think that Jon will call it a career, particularly because he's broke. But when Dana says, I think the guy might hang it up, he might hang it up.
And lastly, last time that I saw you and spoke to you, you were at the Anderson Silva Jake Paul fight. Now, Anderson will be inducted into the Hall of Fame this summer. Did you go to any of his barbecues yet? You told me about?
I haven't been to the barbecue. I didn't know that he was getting inducted. That's great, though. Anderson definitely belongs in there. I saw that Cowboy was getting the induction. I guess I missed the Anderson one. I'm happy for him. I don't have plans to go to that, but just to honor him, I might make the trip.
And for all your fans who love you and can't wait to see more of you, where can they do so?
Nowhere. If you love me and you don't know where to find me, I don't need you anyway.
But what would you like to let them know, though?
Oh, what I let them know? I don't know if I want to let them know anything. I'm with the most beautiful girl in the business right now. Keep watching her. Keep supporting her. I'll tell you that. Fucking
Amen.